through your freedom.
You want answers?
I think I'm entitled.
You want answers?
I want the truth!
You can't handle the truth.
Well, everyone, welcome back to the Prepared Mind channel. Playtime is now over, officially. HTF, it's a thing, folks. It's our daily lives. We're done with the holiday season, Christmas, Valentine's Day, and now Easter Passover. It is now time to get down to business in the world. And the business of business is screwing us. Now, let's start with this. Over the weekend, Vladimir Voldemort Zelensky said the world should, quote, be ready for nuclear war with Russia. That's a hell of a start for the week, isn't it? Welcome to Monday. Have some nuclear war. Well, so this upstart hero, Voldemort, who holds political hostages for ransom, is a member of the National Nazi Party, literally of Ukraine, has asked NATO and the United States governments to go to war to save his illegitimate military-installed regime that has 26 weapons-level bio labs. Yeah, now he wants to threaten nuclear war is coming? I agree, folks. If Biden and the World Economic Forum keep threatening and escalating conflict with Russia, this is a possibility. I'm not saying run, hide, scream, no. Buy potassium iodide, nuclear war pills might be a good idea just in case we have a limited exchange or some other accident. But folks, it has hit the fan. It hit the fan back in March of 2020, and it's been playing out piece by piece. Now, so that's what Voldemort wants. He wants the West to get ready. He wants America and NATO to get ready. To understand it, folks, we're supposed to believe that Russia is losing. We're supposed to believe that Russia is going to lash out with nuclear war. Russia has yet to really, really turn loose its military machine on Ukraine. Instead, it is played out a strategy that is slow and deliberate, and also having a very low casualty rate on the civilian population. Now, for a nation that wants to go to nuclear war, they sure are tame in my book. In fact, they're so tame that the U.S. media is continuing to parrot its masters and claim that, yeah, Russia's losing, folks. Well, after having its naval vessel last week, the Russian military sank, they claim, from an explosion that occurred internally, and of course Ukraine saying they launched 2 of their finest missiles at it and sank it. Regardless of how that story worked, over the weekend Russia has expanded its cruise missile strikes into the western city of Lviv, Lviv. How that's pronounced, I don't know, and I don't care at this point. What's interesting is that they also started using long-range bombers, the Russians did, to fly over Ukraine, into Ukraine airspace, and bomb the pudding out of military targets. Now, had there been a no-fly zone in place from NATO and the United States, that would have been an act of aggression by disobeying a NATO requirement. But NATO doesn't have the stomach, the balls, nor I think the moral authority to try and put, shall we say, a no-fly zone red line in the air. So Russia has expanded its bombing campaign as well as using its cruise missiles. Now, I thought Russia didn't have food, fuel, trucks, or troops. I thought the Russian military was going to mutiny. I thought Russia was getting its ass kicked, by Russia or Ukraine patriots and freedom fighters from around the world. It's Russia, 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 says the mainstream media. They're the bad guys. But folks, the mainstream media is wrong every time. And I want to stop right here and say, once again, if you and I count on the mainstream media Washington, D.C., everyone there, especially the Democrats, if we think they lie to us about domestic matters, how can we even begin to consider anything they say? The government, the media, the bureaucracy. How can we take anything they say as truth and fact? Right? We need to question everything. And a lot of people are doing that. And I want to say it's thanks to you for sharing this website. Hit the share button and share it. Email, text, whatever. Get it out there. Snapchat, Twitter, Facebook, I don't care. Get it out there. People need to start questioning what is going on because playtime is over and they're going to step this up. And I want to harken back to the call that they're striking a western city in Lviv, whatever that town is. Now, you guys know I mess words up intentionally just to piss off the trolls. Now, understand this. The war has been fighting or been being fought in eastern Ukraine over the Donbass region and others. The border, shall we say, provinces of Ukraine. The border with Russia. Why now is Russia going after Western targets, Western Ukraine? Very interesting one. One, right? In my opinion, Russia is now moving its military actions west. It's expanding, not contracting. It's putting out more, right? But we were told they don't have food or fuel or trucks or troops. They're expanding. They're using more force, not less. This is going to scare the hell out of Zelensky, NATO, and the U.S. government. And of course, I always say U.S. government to distinguish it from the United States of America and the people proper. The U.S. government is in Washington, D.C., folks. A little teeny fly speck on the map. Washington, D.C. is not our country. Washington, D.C. is the government that oversees federal authority. It's not us. Certainly doesn't represent us if you look at its love or even lust for all things disgusting and social having to do with grooming children, brainwashing them with critical race theory, as well as destroying the military and trashing our judicial system, as well as other legislative and executive processes. Oh, and then the bureaucrats. So what Russia is doing is going to scare the hell out of Zelensky, NATO, and the U.S. government. And number two, while Putin does this, while he effectively takes out targets in the West, right? I'm sure there's another move being made elsewhere by Putin. Count on it. He can play more than one card at once. He has very handily made anyone who comes up against him look, I don't want to say imbecilic, but certainly amateur. Now, the Western targets I think he's taking out, railroads, rail lines, transportation corridors, storage facilities, the ability to maintain a fighting machine. It's my understanding that Ukraine is getting less supplies from the West because Russia did say what? If Europe, NATO, and the United States want to continue to send armament into Ukraine and support them, then he will consider that armament as a target or that supply line as a target. So he's now reaching over the top of Eastern Ukraine and touching Western Ukraine. That's what he's doing. He's stopping their ability to fight. Now, again, I want peace, tranquility. I want prosperity and freedom. I don't want any of this shit. I didn't ask for it. I don't think it's cute, but it's happening. We're being lied to, folks. And the West, that would be NATO and the U.S. government and its, that's right, globalist masters. They want Ukraine. And they are going to push for more war, not less. They're pushing for more war. Ukraine, through its leadership, Zelensky, could surrender and stop all of this right now. They could surrender and negotiate terms of peace. Instead, they are fighting a war to maintain 100% control of Ukraine, even though the government that is there now was not legitimately put in place. Remember that. Ukraine was the subject of a coup d'etat military takeover of the government in 2014. The West, meaning NATO, US, and the globalists, are not going to give up, and neither is Russia. And that's why I say this is going to continue, folks. It will continue to be nasty. There'll continue to be accusations and escalations. Hopefully, it does not escalate to World War III in Europe, because the Europeans, they seem to have forgotten the penalty and the price of World War I and World War II. They seem to have forgotten the carnage, the suffering, the destruction. Of course, the winner gets to decide who the bad guys are, folks. So if the West wins, it's Russia's fault. And if Russia wins, it's the globalists and the Nazis' fault. I just want peace. But we're not going to get it. So you better prepare, right? Better to be prepared and have it than to not need it because nothing bigger happens. I suspect a lot more big things are going to happen, folks, because playtime is over. The West will not quit. The globalists won't quit. And the people who suffer are always the civilians in the crosshairs. Right now, it's the people of Ukraine. Right now, it's the people of Russia who the sanctions are supposed to hurt. And so Russia is essentially sanctioning Europe, and Europeans are definitely hurting. In the West, far West here in the United States of America, yeah, once again, we're very much hurting. Are you prepared? Food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense, and a plan. This is unfolding, folks. We need to stay current and understand. We need to help others wake up and prepare. This is your mission I have for you. Right? Share the information. Make sure you're subscribed. And if you're on Patreon, thank you. Thank you. We need more of you on Patreon, folks, because we could be silenced. Right now, YouTube is taking a silencing effort against us. They're doing all they can, folks, to hurt us, short of doing something that would be against their rules and exposing them. That's right, folks. They don't want to be exposed to lawsuits. We've got a lot going on. There's a lot going on in the background. And there's a war in this country, folks. It's a silent war, but it's nasty. Chance favors the prepared mind. I'll see you in the next video, and then I'll see you tonight for Sunday Night Live, special edition on Monday, because it was Easter. So we'll be live tonight at 6 p.m. Eastern Time, 3 p.m. Pacific. We'll be there. We'll be live. I expect to see you and everyone you invite. Chance favors the prepared mind. Aren't you glad you're a prepper? Semper Fi.